Today I'm building Clone Wars battles in LEGO, but they get bigger each time, ranging from a small 16x16 base plate, jumping up to a medium-sized build, all the way up to this massive Battle of Coruscant build. So stick around to the end of the video to see that. Now let's get started. Today we are building 3 different battle scenes from Star Wars Clone Wars. Not the 2008 3D animated series, but the 2003 2D Clone Wars. This video will be a continuation of my first Clone Wars battles video, where I recreated battles from the first volume of the series. But this time, we're creating scenes from volume 2 of this amazing piece of Star Wars content. Volume 2 is set at the very end of the Clone Wars, where we see how the Clone Wars has progressed and affected the galaxy over the past 3 years, which means the troopers, vehicles, tech, the characters have all gotten crazier from volume 1. The first build is going to be the smallest one, as we're starting it at a 16x16 plate. The scene here I want to recreate is a quick scene where we get Anakin and Obi-Wan charging into battle against this massive droid fortress. Obviously, this droid stronghold is massive, but I wanted to recreate a part of the fortress walls, starting by building the front of the wall using slopes at different angles to show off a slight curve of the foundation. Then the floor of the base, which I want to show some cracks and damages from the assault that's happening at the moment. I recently got a ton of these light gray quarter tile pieces from the LEGO Picker Brick, which perfectly show off different cracks and crevices in the ground, giving battle damage details. For the figures I want to use in this build, we'll be using Obi-Wan engaging a couple of sand red battle droids on top of the fortress walls. And there you have it, our first battle scene from the 2003 Clone Wars. This one was definitely a fun one to try and recreate a section of, and I can totally see myself trying to recreate this entire droid fortress one day. Now, if you want to own one of these sand red battle droids, they're actually from Clone Army Customs, and I'm gonna be giving some away here today. All you gotta do, like the video, subscribe, and let me know down in the comments what is your favorite scene in the 2003 Clone Wars of Volume 2. Now it's time to begin the medium scale build. This battle scene I want to create here is an epic one we see just for a few seconds on this planet, where we see Obi-Wan and Anakin sneak into a city in which the Republic has been sieging for over a month. Once they blow up the shield generator from the inside, we get to see Commander Cody and his clone forces equipped with jetpacks on top of this gray cliffside fly up and engage the enemy. And that is exactly what I want to start building here. I began by putting together the base of the build with 4 16x16 Technic bricks and put them sideways in order to build a snot technique to capture the rocky cliffscape. I've never really built too much terrain with just dark bluish gray, so it was a fun challenge to go through all my collection and find good parts for this mountainside. Turns out I don't have as many as I thought, but luckily I have just enough for this build. I finished up placing all the slopes and tiles to create different jutouts and levels to the cliff to make sure it was feeling natural. I think the key to making good rock work here is to keep some kind of uniformity with the shapes, but also make it random as well to give it the most natural feel possible. That was something I feel like I got a lot of good practice in with my large scale Utapau mock, where I built a ton of rock work. So I was very pleased to come back and do this in some dark bluish gray pieces. Then I made a rough layout of the top of the mountain, where we'll begin to place all the clone troopers. With my dark gray part collection running out, I had to really scrounge for extra parts, but in the end, I was able to complete this top section. Now it's time for all the minifigures we need for this. Of course, we're gonna need Commander Cody, in which I have a CAC helmet on top to add a little bit more detail. And of course, a jetpack with the smoke exhaust coming out of the bottom to capture the action of him taking off. The next figure I'm using is the 2014 realistic Phase 2 clone trooper with the same jetpack as before and the same effect. This is probably one of, if not my favorite clone troopers of all time. Now it's time to make this battle come to life and add all the clone troopers blasting up into the sky, as well as an ARC 170 flying over, since we see a ton flying over to attack the city. This was a scene I always loved as a kid, even though it was so short. We finally get to see clone troopers use their jetpacks, which we don't get to see them used quite often. especially since this is probably the first time we ever seen them do that on screen. Plus, I've never seen anyone make this particular scene before, so it was fun to build something more original. Would truly love to build a large-scale version of this one day with tons of AT-RTs, ARC-170s, flying into battle, attacking the city, but for now, it's time to move on to the biggest build yet. For the final and largest Clone Wars battle scene we have here today, I'm building the Battle of Coruscant. The Battle of Coruscant was a main plot point in Volume 2 of the Clone Wars, and it's where we see the biggest battles in the series, where the droids have begun a full-scale invasion of the capital of the Republic. One section of the Battle of Coruscant that I've always loved is the bridge battle scene where Captain Fordo and his clone troopers are holding the line against almost an infinite wave of super battle droids and regular battle droids. To begin the build, I set out 27 Technic bricks to be a base for the bridge. That way, it has a great sturdy base to it. The bridge has different sections of light gray and dark gray on top of it, with nothing really else going on. So I began to tile and square off each portion of the light and dark gray sections, which I took a while, but in the end, I thought it really captured the way it looks in the 2D Clone Wars effect. I actually attempted to build this same exact bridge scene years ago, early when I first started my YouTube channel, and as you can see here, it didn't go too well and I ended up destroying it. But I feel like this is definitely gonna go way better than that. Let me know down below if you would like to see even more scenes from Coruscant, maybe a Jedi Temple build, Order 66, Nightfall, who knows? Let me know down below and I'll definitely get to it. Now it's time to build the raised ground and debris where Captain Fordo and his men will take cover behind. Since there isn't one main way to build debris, I just took a lot of different parts and pieces that I thought would give a torn down feel and large enough for the clone troopers to find cover behind. I tried my best to get different sloped angles that captured what we see in the actual show where Captain Fordo is falling back on top of this large section of debris. And in the end, I feel like it captures it quite nicely. The final thing we need to do for the bridge is add a border to the Technic bricks so that it covers it up. Now it's time to make this battle come to life with vehicles and both droid and clone forces. I added well over 100 minifigures on top of this bridge to truly capture the scale of what we see in the Clone Wars 2D show. And just like that, the Coruscant bridge battle is now ready for action.
Sector 4 needs reinforcements. We are being overrun. Repeat, we are... Fall back! Fall back!
With Captain Fordo leading his men in a daring final line of defense, the abundant amount of super battle droids push through with a custom AAT rearing up from the back. Can the clones hold the line, or are the droids going to fully capture this bridge? I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Maybe some Jedi will come help them out. Guys, I am so happy how I was able to build this scene, as it's always been a massive highlight for me for the Battle of Coruscant. Always a great time building a massive droid versus clone battle scene. I can't wait to build more awesome Star Wars battle scenes just like this in the future. Thank you so much guys for watching this video. Tune in next week for the next LEGO Star Wars build challenge.